Messy Bessey Clutterbuck, the Girl Who Wouldn't Tidy Her Bedroom, written by Peter Barron and illustrated by Paul Wick. There was never a girl so excessively messy when it came to her bedroom as my sister, Bessie. When she was born, it was close to perfection, a room sure to pass an army inspection. But as the years passed, Mom had a job to prevent her dear daughter from becoming a slob. Every toy she had owned was flung on the floor, piled up so high it blocked off the door. My Little Ponies, Barbies and Kens, pencils and rubbers, and old felt-tip pens. A kite from her birthday, all tangled in string, and a Christmas tree angel with only one wing. It got to the point where Mom cried, "Enough. If it kills me, I'm going to clean out your stuff." "Oh, leave it. I'll do it," Bessie implored her. But she promised before, so Mom just ignored her. She forced her way in, crushing Ken's toes and ramming a pencil right up his nose. You wouldn't believe what was under the bed. The TV remote and the keys to the shed. Jumpers and dresses, blouses and pants. A sombrero from Spain and a beret from France. 12 pairs of shoes and 21 socks. And a curly blonde wig from the dressing up box. It was much worse than ever. Too bad to be true. There wasn't a piece of the carpet in view. Nothing put back, nothing hung up or folded. It looked like an almighty bomb had exploded. With a peg on her nose, for it smelled like a skunk, Mom made a path through the jungle of junk. It came up to her shoulders. No, up to her head. There were bowls of dried cornflakes and slices of bread. Glasses of milk were curled to cheese. Mum, in despair, slumped down on her knees. And there, in the corner, I'm sad to record, was Jake, the pet hamster, stiff as a board. While Mom went berserk, she flew into a rage. No one had seen him escape from his cage. How tragic that Jake should spend his last days totally lost in the mind-muddling maze. Bessie was summoned and torn off a strip. Your room, she was told, is an absolute tip. By bedtime at last, Mom's task was complete. It was years since that room was so spotless and neat. But as Bessie laid her head on her pillow that night, she couldn't help thinking there was something not right. So she dozed off with the sense she was losing her grip. As her mother's words echoed, "Your bedroom's a tip." My sister was woken by something quite frightening, rumbles and flashes like thunder and lightning. She peered out of the window, and there down below were 6 dustbin lorries, their headlights aglow. Bessie looked closer in shocked disbelief. They had wicked red eyes and great metal teeth. They plowed through our garden, blaring their horns, churning up mud where once there'd been lawns. They smashed through the walls, demolished the stairs, ceilings collapsed so that the dust filled the air. When the fog cleared, Bessie was really in trouble. She was perched on the top of a huge pile of rubble. And that's when the drivers jumped down from their trucks, giving their prey the most evil of looks. Her blood turned to ice. She was chilled to the bone. Never before had she felt so alone. The drivers weren't human, but blood-sucking killers. Zombie-fied hamsters the size of gorillas. They searched through the debris, picking and sorting all of the items they thought worth transporting. They loaded the wagons, a slick operation, and drove from the street to a secret location. They returned with a menacing message for Bessie. "We'll teach you to leave your bedroom so messy." They began closing in. It was the time Bessey fled. She ran for her life and left them for dead. With tears in her eyes and a trembling lip, she followed a sign that said, "To the tip." The further she went, the worse was the smell. Around one last corner were the black gates of hell. A board at the entrance made Bessie's heart jump. A large blood-red letters were the words "Devil's Dump." No living soul had seen such a mess. How far it stretched is anyone's guess. An army of hamsters, driving diggers and lorries, shifting mountains of rubbish into cavernous quarries. Vultures and ravens, seagulls and gnats had flocked to the messiest tip on the planet. Birds with 2 heads and razor-sharp beaks, fighting for scraps, all of them freaks. They dive-bombed poor Bessie, 2 at a time. As they pecked her and clawed her, she started to climb. Something inside told Bessie not to stop. The one chance she had was to get to the top. But the hill she was climbing was crawling with bugs, buggle-eyed beetles and slime-slurping slugs. Plants with green fingers grasped at her feet. Her life was a mess, but her footwork was neat. She tipped through creepers, then looked back down the hill to see thousands of ghouls moving in for the kill. There was nowhere to hide and nowhere to run. Exhausted and desperate, she screamed for her mum. That's when she felt a last push to the summit. Against all odds, somehow she'd done it. If you're enjoying this book, a cautionary tale on why you should keep your room clean, then please have your parent click the link below to purchase this book and see how it ends. Until next time, bye!